I'm not going to try and make a full intro for this. If you're watching this video, you very likely watched the previous one about this same topic. I made callouts against AG saying he was working with Hivemind to try and hurt me and was threatening me, which after talking with AG on Discord, it was confirmed that all of it was a coincidence as shown by these screenshots right here, which I did get permission from him to show. And you can pause the video and read the whole thing, which I do recommend you do. It all kind of comes down to Hivemind manipulating words into seeming like AG was still on his side. With that being said though, I apologized to AG as we went through the situation together in DMs, as it was only a short call out I made on him at the very end of said video. But do not get confused here. Hivemind is still very much in the dirt and does deserve a public call out, which is what majority of this video is going to be about. Some may ask why I'm still making this a public matter. That is simply because there are so many people in the cover community, the community that I myself am in, who are closely related to Hivemind and support him even through all the things he's done. I have to speak up about it, as well as be able to share the words of people who's had experiences with him that may not be able to get the chance to, if not for something like this. Thanks to the initial video, more information about Hivemind has been brought up from people around the FNF space that's not just the cover community. I'd like for all of you not to hear it from me, but hear it from the sources themselves. This is from someone who wishes to be an anonymous source by request, that had multiple years of experience with Hivemind. I'll be quoting what is said. Hive is, by far, one of the worst people I know, and it disgusts me that people defend him just because they're friends. My only explanation for this is because they haven't seen the side of him that I and a few others have. Hive is the type of person to, without much explanation, block you the second he sees something about you that he dislikes. He will not explain why, just that you're getting blocked. He is egotistical and a man-child, and I fully believe he has temperamental anger issues. He has caused people, minors and children, mental abuse and has gotten away with it. He will make you out to be the villain and expect to move on without another thought, which disgusts me to no end. On at least one occasion, he has brought in personal beef between me and him into another server, unprompted, and had a 5-minute rant about it before going offline, painting me to be the villain for no real reason, assuming I was doing something wrong. He assumes I'm doing wrong often, getting into people's business and assuming the worst of me from my conversations between those people, which should be private, but he has to be the hero or whatever. He's not. He's a selfish asshole who hates you if you do a single thing wrong. That's pathetic. When I was having a discussion with another person who was a part of a project Hive, Sora, and I were, the former of whom left, it came up in conversation due to him, the person, believing Hive's lies. This was not long after AG made the group DM. The person then allegedly messaged Hive about it, and Hive immediately got on my ass without a warning and acted like I was trying to bring back past drama, when all I was doing was giving a person an explanation to see if he wanted to rejoin the project. This shows his hypocrisy. He had the nerve to do this and then, recently, continue this pointless drama and bring it up again. Hive is not a good person, and I'm disappointed in the people who defend him. I was 16 when I met Hive, and he continued to be my enemy. No matter how many times I tried to be his friend or tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, I don't care what mental issues he has because this is just sad. You're in your 20s, Hive, and you're acting like a certain someone who you know well. I haven't even gone to the people caught in the middle of this. You're making people who thought they were your friend suffer because you can't move on. You are making them suffer when everyone else wants this to be over. Hive is a crybaby and a dickhead. He, like many people online, is hellbent on ridiculous drama that he made up. We have a limited time to live, and this piece of shit is spending it on this. And as for the people on his side, shame on you. I'm not on anyone's side myself, but I'm fully against being on Hive's. He's unfunny, rude, obnoxious, a bitch-ass motherfucker, and an annoying, bratty man-child. Grow up, Hive. I'd say you're better than this, but at this point, I doubt it. And to the audience, don't trust Hive. I'm not asking you to pick sides, but Hive is manipulative and honestly one of the worst people I know, chronicling online and miserable enough to pull shit like this. Hive is the perfect example of why I and many others remove themselves from the FNF fandom, because all they care about is drama left and right. Anyways, I know others have proof of what he's done, and I'd rather the focus is drawn there than my rant. So lastly, I'm saying anonymous for the sake of my privacy and not wanting to be involved. That's all I have to say.
Now, while I don't have as much negative history with Hive as Pork does, what he attempted to do to me is honestly just as bad, if not worse, just by looking at these two screenshots. So, just reading off of both of these screenshots I took earlier, it says, "Hey Ferris, you live in Texas, right?" "Yeah." "Okay, this is gonna sound like a suspicious question, but I need you to trust me, I have good intentions here. How many other people live with you?" There's no good way for me to explain what I want to do without spoiling the surprise. Spoil it. Fair enough. You know that Minecraft IRL experience thing? Wait, what? Was gonna look into how much it costs to get in there myself. I'd figured I'd invite my good friend, and I realized your family might be sus of you going with some 24-year-old they don't know. So I wanted to see if I could afford to invite some family too, just so they can keep an eye on you. Like I said, no good way to explain it without sounding sus. Wait, have you not seen it? Even if you did, they'd risk their souls getting taken out of their bodies, and also me kind of losing access to the internet overall, cause my parents are black. And while it does sound fun, I'm good. What the fuck is up with that first bit? And fair enough. See, I expected you to make an Alabeka reference. Just the term that I use, that those people might get a couple teeth extracted from their jaws, aka beat the fuck up. Because my parents, mainly my mom, are hella protective over me. Worth a shot. Fair enough though. If you decide you do want to go, even just with your family, I'll try to pay for it. I want to do something nice for you. I don't think I need to explain why this is borderline pedophilia, especially with phrases like "I need you to trust I have good intentions," and "there's no good way for me to explain what I want to do without spoiling the surprise." Like, what do you mean by this? And if by some weird chance he did have actual good intentions, keep in mind, I'm 16 at the time of this screenshot. He's 24 years old. Why are you trying to set up an IRL meeting with a minor? I really wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but even at the time, I had a feeling that something was off.
From what I've seen of him and from what, generally speaking, a lot of the actions that he, quote-unquote, says that he takes care of, he doesn't actually. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure Pork talked about this, about how he would constantly instigate Pork and all that shit for basically no other reason. I genuinely do not understand what the fucking massive hate boner he has for Pork, but like, I've seen multiple instances of him getting kicked from VCs, Pork getting kicked from servers in general, or just him just leaving out of his own volition because Hive just wouldn't stop like antagonizing him or just making him out to seem like a fucking, like a threat or something, like a fucking cartoon villain. It's a little, I'm not sure how exactly I'm meant to like describe it, but like, he was out, like, that's like the best way I can use to describe it. Just, he was like treating Pork like he was a fucking Saturday morning cartoon villain. But like, I genuinely don't understand why that was the case. From my perspective, it just seemed completely petty. And then, of course, there's the fucking Mario Kart Deluxe tournament that you've talked about in your first video, where pretty much over one slight minor inconvenience, he literally was like yelling, crashing out, just doing all this fucking vulgar shit. And that's not the first time that he's done shit like that. Like, he's gotten loud, he's gotten vulgar, he's pretty much gotten to like around the same level as you saw in the Pork clip, as pretty frequently as like not too long ago, like for like a few years ago, I like to say. The most I've seen of it was definitely like a few years ago, and the constant like excuse or like the fucking way that he uses to like justify it is because of him taking like medication for it. I'm not sure what kind of medication he uses specifically. All I know is that it's some fucking anger management fucking pills or whatever the hell it is. I'm not entirely sure. Could be wrong, but he has mentioned at some point in the past that he's been like arrested at some point because of it. So that's just been this thing that's been a constant with him. It's not like a recent thing that's developed. It's always been a fucking thing with him. it's, I don't know, it's like really weird. And like another thing that's like generally very weird is the fact that how he oddly trusted me a whole lot more than a lot of people. So much so to where, like I said before, you most likely see the fucking screenshots of him basically self-reporting himself. I'm not sure why he sent that to me. I'm not sure why he thought that it was appropriate to send that to me, who at the time, I believe I was like 16, 17 at the time, so basically still a minor who didn't have a good general grasp on that. I didn't really have like a good grasp on all that at the moment. I've had to like live with like that information for like a few years now, and I wasn't entirely sure what to do with it. I definitely was smart in like the long term by me pretty much screenshotting the entirety of that interaction from start to finish. But at the same time, it felt like a little bit wrong to me. Like, to me, I felt like, why was he telling me this? Why the hell was he letting me know this in advance? Why did he feel like he needed to come to me specifically to like talk to about it? I'm not sure if I'm the only one he's talked to this about, but I definitely was one of the first few who have pretty much been told that he definitely was just self-reporting himself. Again, I'm not sure why he did that or why he thought it was appropriate to do that, but a lot of things could just be chalked up to I'm not sure why he thought that was appropriate, with like a lot of the shit coming up in like the video, I believe. Another thing that might seem noteworthy to bring up to that is how, weirdly enough, he just doesn't seem to be aware, or maybe is aware, but is just blatantly throwing that aside for the bit. Is that how he seems to just be really fucking not aware about the fact that there are like a lot of minors with like that are like in like a lot of groups. Like, for example, the Doge Cross Takeover dev team, the Sora server in general, other servers privately that we have going on, the fucking, I believe, AG's Indie Cross compilation group as well. He doesn't really seem to like put on a filter for some reason, because one of the running jokes with him was like the fucking happy, with like the fucking how he would fucking say happy birthday to people regardless of who it was, and it was pretty much just the fucking happy day of you shooting out of your mom's vagina joke. I'm not sure if this is like really fucking important to bring up, to be honest with you. I'm probably reaching a whole lot for this, but like he generally just does not seem to just have like a filter when around like certain people, and a lot of people multiple times he was told to like cut the shit out and like stop saying all that stuff because like there's like a bunch of minors in the server, and a few days later, surprise, surprise, it would not stop. Now, as a sex joke connoisseur myself, I generally know when to just not do all that because, again, minors. I'm not going to be fucking making sex jokes around minors of all people because they should not be fucking exposed to all that. Generally speaking, there's like certain limits or like certain boundaries that you should be speaking with people. You wouldn't speak to your dog the same way how you would speak to your boss, and you wouldn't speak to like your girlfriend the same way you would speak to like your best friend. You know, there are like certain boundaries, certain like rules you have to like to follow with like certain amount of people, and the fact that he doesn't adhere to all that, even though it's simple human decency, like, hey, don't make fucking jokes about shooting out of people's vaginas or like talking about like explicit sexual shit around children because they're children and they should not be exposed to all that. But then again, he continues to do it anyway, and just generally just does not have a care for if like the minors in particular were to like see that by any chance. It's not really all too often that people would start to feel uncomfortable whenever he would make jokes around that, and it's generally not all that surprising that a few of the people that I'm friends with or in the server do not have like a strong good or bad opinion on him. It's mainly just like in the middle, because there are some aspects of him being a likable person, but there are also some other aspects that just don't make him seem like a trustworthy person, in my opinion. I'm not really sure how else to describe it, to be honest with you. I'm probably just like rambling on about this point, but you get the general idea. I'm not entirely sure how to describe Hive Mind in like the general slightest. And like I've known him for like a long time, to be honest with you here. Like a few years now, and even then I don't know. It's just bad. And just another thing that personally just makes me really fucking disgusted is how he tries, like how, like with what Ferris has shown off and has probably explained, is the fact that he tried to like meet up with Ferris when he was 22, I'd like to believe at the time, or when Ferris was like 16. I think 16, 15, it could be wrong about that. I'm not entirely sure, but like that just fucking disgusts me on like a whole other level, because if you see the screenshot and if you read it, it makes it really fucking uncomfortable with like how he words it, like meeting up with like the parents and all that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like he even like talked about how much it would cost to even get there himself. And he figured out how he'd invite like one of his good friends for some fucking reason. And he also brought up the fact that his family might be a bit suspicious that that 24-year-old man would go up to meet up with Ferris, to which, yeah, no shit, that's kind of fucking weird and kind of fucking sus, which like really makes me believe like he was trying to like do something to Ferris under like the guise of like trying to like meet up in public and like trying to like hang out. And generally speaking, that's just a weird thing to ask a minor in general when you're 24 and he's like 16, 17 or something. Just why? I don't fucking understand it. Like, I don't get his thought process by trying to do that. I'm lucky that Ferris did not agree to any of that, or that the Hive Mind did not go through with any of that, because I'm not entirely sure what could have happened if they did meet up. For all I know, they could have just had like a fun time, like a park, or like dicked around. Not in that way, if that was the case, or it could have just been something else. If I'm being completely honest with you here. It could have been something a lot worse, but we don't know. I don't know. It's generally just really fucking disgusting to like bring up in general.
So I want to say it was like 2023 or 2023, yeah, when this whole thing started. I can't remember exactly, but really ever since the Mario Kart incident that happened back then, it started a very long and, I guess maybe not rigorous is the right word, but just annoying, maybe, chain of events, of which he has invited me to group chats, blocked me for no reason because of behavior reasons, which were all completely hypocritical. Now, I'm not saying I never did them, but whatever. There was times he spread rumors about me that were complete lies, and I said to others that they were complete lies. Basically, there was a time with my at the time person who I was dating. At some point or another, Hive had said that I had sent him death threats and I had called someone a slut. Both are lies. I can't give proof with the death threats part, because whenever asked on it, he would say it was in VC or he doesn't have screenshots of it. I can't give much of that. But I can give a screenshot of him saying that he did lie about me calling that person a slut. We have screenshots for a screenshot for that. They were both lies that happened, like, I want to say, like, wasn't it 2023? I think it says that on the screenshot. And then there's 2 times with 2 group chats. First one was for a game called Super Smash Crusades. Then another one was Multiverses. First one, him, me, a friend, one of his friends, and someone else, I forget. I tried my best to be like a good person in it. I was, for the most part, again, I was still young, so I was a little bit, you know, of a child, I guess. And that ended with him sending a very long paragraph talking about, can't remember exactly, but calling me a lot of things. I tried to talk about it civilly, but he didn't want to do that. Again, I really wish I could get screenshots of that, but unfortunately, I think that's lost to time. There is another time, the Multiverses one, where me, one of my friends, I don't want to use their name, another person, Hive, and I can't remember who else. There's a few people in there. It was going fine. I was trying my best to be civil, trying to be nice to everyone because I know there's a little bit of bad blood going around. Out of nowhere, Hive and the owner of the group chat banned me out of nowhere, saying I was being rude to people, calling everyone like what they played annoying, whatever. Which at the same time is what he was doing, but I guess that doesn't really matter. He said a few other things, though I won't say that I didn't do them. I probably did do them. Like, I'm not gonna say I never did them. But again, it was extremely hypocritical, and you can't really fault me for that and not fault himself for that. Then that caused him to block me for a while, and then gave him like the 87th chance. And then there's a time in a server where I had been avoiding him for the longest while because I didn't want to cause any more issues than had already been caused. So whenever he joined a VC, I would respectfully say I'll go and I'll leave. I guess he didn't like that because he had a big hissy, well, I would say hissy fit, because that sounds passive aggressive. He just didn't like that and he blew up, I guess. There should be screenshots that we can find of it. He did DM me about it. I have a video of that. Basically, he was yelling at me over the fact that I was just avoiding an issue, saying that I was just avoiding him because I didn't like him. I tried to speak about it civilly. I tried to, like, maybe even talk through things of why we didn't like each other. He was being extremely passive-aggressive. He wasn't being very cooperative. And then he tried to say, well, I don't bring my issues to others, when he literally, the whole thing started because of him blowing up, pretty much. That's how that conversation started, and then he goes, well, I don't bring the issues to everyone else. And I call him out on that. He's like, you know what, he just blocks me over that. He blew up more. Now, I'm not gonna say I haven't done similar things, but like, it is what he's done, and it's shown how he is extremely easy to, he blows up over small things. Better way to put it. And he's been doing this for years, and it's extremely difficult to have to deal with. I gave him multiple chances, he never took it, and it was a whole lot of spiel that's been happening for over 2 years.
On recent notion regarding Pork's case, this was brought up to our attention from HiveMind's page explaining the situation on the Mario Kart tournament clip that was showcased. Which, while it's nice you finally decided to take accountability for once, you could have done something way earlier in the past year or two that this has been going on with not only Pork, but with other people as well. This is what Pork had to say in response to this. There's a lot in these testimonies that's pretty damn disgusting. Not only has he in private wanted to try and strike me down by using raw numbers and gaining people's trust by saying this and that happened in VC, but he now does have allegations made on him where he has spoken inappropriately and suspiciously to and or around specific groups of people in the community, as well as just being plain disrespectful and moving on with our care in the world, hoping that it won't be brought up again and that he can just brush it under the rug. I want to also partially address all the people who have tried saying I deleted comments in the first video. What kind of claim is that? You can clearly see there's comments going against me, going for me, and being neutral. Why would I pick and choose what comments get deleted and don't? Even AG's comment, which is the person I called out in said video, is up there still to this day. This is a stupid claim to make just because you want to attempt and have some sort of leverage over me. I'm also going to call out this post right here. I will be talking about this, seeing as he's made a public statement for everyone to see, and I will be replying to this. Yeah, no. I need to talk about this to y'all. As we all know right now, popular FNF Bitatsu / cover creator Sorval released a video about AG and Highmind and certain allegations. Now, I don't really know much about the situation, but from what I gathered, I don't support Sorval in this. Not only are they falsely accusing 2 people that had never intended any harm, but are directly calling them out in a video in an attempt to turn their fans against them. This is not okay. While I understand both are technically at fault here for specific mistakes, at least Highmind handled it fairly well. Sorval is being really shitty at the moment and is letting the fame get to their head, and clearly should not be trusted with any information at the current time. So, you are saying you don't know much about the whole situation and are talking based off of what you gathered. Following that up by saying I have falsely accused 2 people that never intended any harm, which in AG's case, that is correct. But in this video, I have addressed this already. In the first video, you can clearly see evidence that Hive is planning to dogpile on me along with a bunch of other stuff, just to win with raw numbers and not doing his own research on the topic. You've seen him manipulate AG's worst into making it seem like he's in on this whole operation. You've seen him scream at a 14-year-old calling him demented, and use false accusations for transphobia, along with everything else showcased in the people's testimonies earlier. That is not never intended any harm, nor is an example of Highmind handled it fairly well. If you truly believe the words you're saying, then boy am I disappointed in you for supporting such a person. Either you have not bothered to even attempt and get the full context by reading through the screenshots presented, the video footage presented, or my examples brought up in voice, or you have just completely neglected all that information and are deciding to support someone that is a threat to his community. I want you to really reconsider your thoughts on Highmind after this. Why am I singling you out? Because you have made a public post that is categorically untrue and inaccurate with the evidence provided in my main video, and that is even more so reinforced through this one. You are simply supporting a bad person in the community and backing them up, putting them up on a higher pedestal when not deserved. Moving forward from that topic really quickly, if you want even more evidence as to why Highmind is just a toxic person, then I'll show you this. Hive has kept lying about mine and Danny's actions, making assumptions again, just like the transphobe allegations I brought up in the previous videos without actually asking Saucy, who he's referencing here, if what he's thinking is actually true. He's trying his absolute best to keep moral high ground by keeping things low-key and not saying much in public spaces, but when it's behind closed doors, you can guarantee he has things to say. Even with such a thing as, he said he's gonna move on to variety gaming content. Maybe he'll slip up there. So this further proves that Highmind doesn't even have anything to call me out for, with evidence, chalks it up to be in VCs to try and reinforce his points, and is hoping for a future slip up from me in order to be actually able to do an attempt at calling me out, which makes sense with his plan of just trying to outnumber me, because he has nothing to say in this current moment. I'm going to try and cut it here. There is a lot more information in Danny's video, which you should absolutely check out regarding the situation, which I've heard from him will probably come out after this one, so keep updated on that for sure. To the audience, if you, even after all this re-emphasized and new evidence coming to light, decide to keep supporting Highmind, I am extremely disappointed in you, and you could not have a single ounce of respect from me to you. You are actively choosing to support such a disgusting person in the scene who wants to make claims without proof, be rude, and talk inappropriately to people. If this is who you really want to be associated with, that says a lot about you as a person, and you will not have my support in any way, shape, or form. To add on to what I said previously in the first video, due to all this new information being brought up and people seemingly supporting Highmind even through all of his disgusting acts, my custom assets I've made for the cover community are not to be used unless you have my permission to use them. No excuses. We are at this point now where I have to make such harsh restrictions because people are blind to evidence-based callouts. And since I know Highmind is going to try and manipulate people again in his response, I will be most likely making yet another response with Daney, most likely not in video form, but in doc form, but we'll see how that goes. Other than that, everything I do in terms of work will continue as normal unless something crucial comes up that will put a halt to everything, in which I will update you on if it does happen. That is all.